set for this enterprise to take off. And you were one of the major investors, as far as I knew. And it must have been heartbreaking after. How long were you planning on this airline? For 5 years, something like that?
We got some early contact from the Blue Crab Air. They hadn't actually defined their name, but they wanted us to start looking into the project and seeing if there was the feasibility to even bring that kind of operation here to this area. We've been doing some very quiet investigations for them, deed researches, doing a bunch of actually drone photography and base mapping as they were working out their details. So we got very excited here recently that they were really ready to go.
Well, how many gates were you thinking of for Easton?
They wanted us to design this terminal to be expandable. They wanted to be able to start out with probably 3. They had several specific routes that would be really there and back with no intermediate stops. And as the destinations for, as they explained to me, our snowbird population here.
One thing that we were looking at when we looked at the communications material, as well as the proxy, was the fact that they looked at the aircraft as having 2 different cabins, one for Talbot County and one for Kent County. I was surprised by that kind of segregation. Were you?
I had heard discussions about it. It really didn't have a lot to do with our design, other than how we structured the gate assignments and the configurations on the interior for registering and boarding. And and they recognize that there's very different cultures right here on our own eastern shore. So perhaps they felt that that would provide a much more enjoyable flight environment, and people could travel with those that they were most familiar with.
You also went out of your way to accommodate Sugar Buns, which is the restaurant there. I was surprised at the scale of that. I guess you have now them up to 50 tables.
Yeah, not only is the Sugar Bun venue had the opportunity to expand to a full-scale dining facility.
You must have been devastated by the news that Blue Crab Airlines never got off the ground.
Yeah, we got some parked airplanes. Nobody could use them.
This is years in the planning, but you went out of your way to find the right aircraft, didn't you?
Yeah, we searched all over. There are some deals out there, quite a few out Seattle way, but we chose this smaller jet. Seemed to work out well for our planned routes. But like you said, now they're parked. Yeah, we could take a pretty good load to Florida. But if we wanted to stretch to the West Coast, we'd have to kick most people off and carry fuel.
You were also advocating for the use of blimps.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest in airships for transportation. For example, studying the Bay, it's a great platform for looking at things closely. And as you know, I spent about 10 years flying them all over the United States over major sporting events and so forth. A trip to Florida takes probably 4 days. West Coast trip, the fastest I've ever done it was 9 days. So yeah, that's why we got the jets.
And I know that you hail from Kent County, but live in Talbot County. Were you upset that the corporate heads decided to have a 2-class service, one for Kent County, one for Talbot County?
Nah, I can see their reasoning. When you put people from those 2 counties together, there's usually a challenge. So we had to put some chicken wire up between 2 sections. The whole thing is, it's just we got to reevaluate everything now. I don't know what's going to happen.